Okay, everybody, thanks for joining us. We're going to give people a couple more minutes to join us this evening as everyone's probably getting home from work and logging on. So we'll start the webinar in just a couple of minutes. Okay, well, we should go ahead and get started here. Thank you for joining us for Stop Puppy Mills, Ending Sales in Local Pet Shops. My name is Jill Fritz. I'm the Michigan Senior State Director for the Humane Society of the United States. And our other presenter this evening will be Pam Serdell, who is the founder of Michigan Friends of Companion Animals and founder of Puppy Mill Awareness of Southeast Michigan. And she is also an HSUS district leader. During the webinar this evening, let's hold our questions until the end. You'll see on the right side of your screen in the toolbar that you can type in questions in the questions section. There's also a chat bar. And also during the webinar, we will have your microphones on mute and just to cut down on the background noise. But at the end, during the questions section, you'll see a little icon with a hand on it. If you click that to raise your hand, we can unmute your microphone so you can ask your questions and everyone can hear you. And this webinar will be recorded too. So if you miss any part of it or have to leave, we will post it later on the Michigan Friends of Companion Animals website so that you can watch it at your own convenience. So today we'll provide an overview of the problems associated with selling these types of animals in retail pet stores. And we'll give step-by-step instructions on how you can approach stores to transition to a humane model and pass the model ordinance. And this is a model ordinance that was approved by the the Macomb County Commission by resolution earlier this month. You can see the URL on the screen there for Michigan Friends of Companion Animals Coalition, the website there. It includes a page dedicated to the Humane Pet Acquisition Proposal, the model ordinance itself, templates for letters that you can use to contact local officials and the media, frequently asked questions. It also gives more detail on how to take action and much, much more. The purpose of the ordinance itself is to protect animals, protect consumers, and to encourage responsible pet adoption by families. Incidentally, that photo at the top by the Elkhart County, Indiana Zoning Department shows a breeder with nearly 200 adult dogs that had repeat violations of the Federal Animal Welfare Act related to veterinary care, and he sold directly to the Family Puppy, which is Michigan's largest puppy retailer chain. Just some of the problems associated with selling puppies through retail outlets, but there are also problems with the puppies themselves. Due to overbreeding and inbreeding, puppies sold at pet stores can have all sorts of illnesses and genetic defects. The long list you see on your screen is just a sample. Many of the items noted are contagious to humans. In 2013, 15% of the puppies shipped to the family puppy in Michigan. That's 144 puppies had serious and costly medical issues. Ill and genetically defective puppies can cost their new owners hundreds or even thousands of dollars in veterinary care. And unfortunately, there are no disclosure laws in Michigan for those types of pet sales. The bottom line is responsible breeders do not sell to pet stores. This is, that you see on your screen, a code of ethics from the United Kennel Club, one of the breed registries. I will be discriminating in the sale of my puppies and concerned with the types of homes in which they're placed. My dogs or puppies will not be sold to dog wholesalers or retailers. Good breeders have waiting lists and never have a surplus of puppies. They take pride in their work and want to know where their puppies are being placed so they can rehome them if they have any problems with them. Most pet stores order puppies from a broker or a wholesale dealer who works with various breeders. The puppies are shipped through the broker to the pet stores where families unknowingly purchase pets with illnesses or genetic defects. Puppy Mill Awareness of Southeast Michigan has identified 31 puppy retailers in Michigan acquiring dogs from commercial breeders out of state. 15 are still actively selling puppies. Most families would never purchase directly from facilities like these with over 200 dogs and where the standards are far below what almost any reasonable person would consider to be acceptable. So some of the problems associated with the various animals we'll be talking about. First, problems with pet store kittens. Many pet stores get their kittens from people getting rid of accidental litters or from unlicensed breeders. There are only 58 USDA licensed catteries in the U.S. Most of them are here in the Midwest states. Missouri has the most licensed catteries. But there are no USDA licensed cat breeders in the state of Michigan. Bad breeders keep them in sheds or basements or in a room in a home where they might go unnoticed by inspectors. And they're similar to puppy mills as they receive minimal veterinary care, quality food, housing, or socialization. And you can see on your screen photos from USDA inspections of licensed cat breeders. Rabbits. Problems with pet store rabbits. The good news is the large chains like Petco and PetSmart have already ended retail sales of rabbits. However, Pet Supplies Plus, which is a primary rabbit retailer in Michigan, still does. The store is located in Macomb County, import rabbits from a USDA licensed broker located in California. If you can imagine that kind of a trip for those rabbits all the way from California. Commercial rabbitries are similar to puppy mills, often with minimal shelter, exercise, or veterinary care. According to the 2013 Michigan Department of Agriculture and Rural Development Animal Shelter Activity Reports, nearly 900 rabbits were surrendered to Michigan shelters and nearly 300 were not adopted. So there's already a lot of rabbits coming into shelters and in need of homes in the state of Michigan already, just from animal shelters and rescues. Problems with pet store ferrets. This picture, the large picture, is at Motor City Ferret Rescue Facilities where families can adopt ferrets and learn how to properly care for them. And Michigan's other ferret rescue is West Michigan Ferret Connection in Grand Rapids. And you can see their director there, Dee Gage, in the smaller picture. Ferrets are bred in large warehouses, and they're often grouped in small cages with dangerous metal wire floors and are deprived of any opportunity to engage in natural behaviors like burrowing or hiding. While PetSmart has continued sales of ferrets, Petco still sells them and usually displays 4 to 9 ferrets at a cost of about $149 each. Only 2 ferret wholesalers in the U.S. can legally sell to pet stores. One is in Pennsylvania and one in New York. And the New York one has an inventory that has reached over 31,000 ferrets in 2014 and up to 50,000 back in 2011 and was recently cited for violations of the Federal Animal Welfare Act related to veterinary care, sanitation, and conditions at the facilities. And again, these are the only two facilities or retailers that can, wholesalers, I'm sorry, that can sell ferrets to pet stores. Problems with long-lived birds. Most stores like Petco and PetSmart sell smaller birds and bird supplies. There are no state or federal regulations or standards for breeding or selling long-lived birds. Some can live up to 100 years, often outliving their owners. Feathered Friends of Michigan says an astounding 75% of parrots living in captivity in the U.S. are living in less than suitable conditions. Consumers are not educated and purchase long-lived birds on impulse and are misled into believing that parrots are easily kept pets. They quickly become unwanted and are moved to inadequate environments like basements or a garage. The average parrot will have between 5 to 10 homes in the first 7 years of his or her life. The problems with large reptiles. Most cities, townships, and villages in southeast Michigan already restrict possession of dangerous, wild, or exotic animals for public safety reasons, as you can imagine. This ordinance that we'll be talking about ensures retailers are not selling animals that are already prohibited. Dangerous animals cause law enforcement challenges during rescues or removals and can put families and neighbors at risk. The largest Nile monitors, which you can see on your screen, can reach 8 feet long, and their well-developed claws and powerful jaws can cause serious injuries. And constrictor snakes like boas or pythons or anacondas can be 8 feet long or larger and are capable of killing a person. So, before you try to pass an ordinance, though, and it's a lot of work, cooperation might save you a lot of effort. In 2010, more than 100 Michigan stores took the HSUS Puppy-Friendly Pet Store Pledge not to sell puppies and kittens. In Michigan, in 2015, 2 outlets have pledged to no longer sell puppies and kittens. Gibraltar Trade Center in Mount Clemens and Greenwood Pets and Plants in Warren will now feature only adoptable rescued pets. Not all puppy stores, though, are bad, and not all owners are bad. One puppy store owner agreed to end puppy sales after seeing the inspection reports of its supplier and the violations that they had under the Animal Welfare Act. So he chose to make the right decision after seeing all the information. So all stores should be given an opportunity to end pet sales. Unfortunately, not all stores want to walk away from the potentially lucrative revenues, and that's where legislation or ordinances are needed. But what if you hear, but there are no puppy-selling pet stores in my community? While box puppy stores are becoming a thing of the past, puppy retailers are finding new ways to mislead families. There are more and more active online sellers that could be purchasing from a breeder or a dealer. Often they'll tell families they're helping a family member sell their puppies. Some retailers are posing as upscale pet boutiques, offering tiny teacup toy dogs, which may be underage and not tiny at all when they're full grown. And a new marketing gimmick is selling high-end designer dogs, which are really mixed breeds, through boutiques and grooming salons. And new outlets like that open every year here in Michigan. So here's a breakdown of a pet retail ordinance. First, they have to comply with federal, state, and local laws that are already on the books. They have to be written in a way that meshes with existing code. The findings section in the ordinance includes shelter statistics and describes customers that have purchased sick animals from pet stores, and it shows how this ordinance will fix those problems. The definition of terms section includes important definitions like what is a pet store? You don't want to accidentally ban PetSmart, for example, from holding its own adoption events. The prohibited section can vary, and we'll detail more on that later. The penalty section will include who will enforce the ordinance and what the penalties will be. And then a phase-in period will allow stores to find homes for the animals they already have and close out contracts that they might have with franchises. So the Michigan Model Ordinance, the Michigan Friends of Companion Animals Coalition currently has 13 animal welfare organizations that support the Humane Pet Acquisition Ordinance. The HSUS is focused primarily on the impact these ordinances can have on pet overpopulation, and in particular on protecting communities from the cruelties of the puppy mill industry. But of course, we support the work of this coalition. So more details on the prohibited section of the model ordinance. It includes not only restrictions on the types of animals sold, but also restricts roadside sales and off-site retail sales of pets. A certificate of origin is required for the remaining small animals that are still allowed to be sold. The model ordinance was developed using language from other cities that have passed similar restrictions, including Austin, Texas, Glendale, California, and the city of East Providence, Rhode Island. The East Providence ordinance restricting the sale of dogs produced in commercial large-scale puppy mills was upheld by federal U.S. District Court in 2015, providing an important legal precedent for the national effort to crack down on abusive puppy mills. Key language from this ordinance was included in the Humane Pet Acquisition Model Ordinance. The Macomb County Corporate Council approved the final version that's used in Macomb County and other Michigan communities to be used in those communities, and the Macomb County Commission approved this version in June of 2015. So just to be clear, here's what we mean by retail sales of pets. It is a wholesale breeder and supplier bringing those pets into a retail shop for sale to the public. The exemption section, any kind of law or ordinance will usually have exemptions. And the exemption section in this ordinance excludes breeders, animal shelters, zoos, and nonprofit animal rescues. That's so that families should be able to see where the animals are bred. So our implementation guide with much more detail will soon be posted on our Michigan Friends of Companion Animals website. It includes step-by-step instructions for passing the Humane Pet Acquisition Ordinance. And with that, I'm going to hand it over to Pastor Dell, who will go into more detail about what you can do to get this done.
Hey, thanks, Jill. Okay, so I'm going to do a step-by-step instructions for how to pass this ordinance in your own town. So the first step is to learn the process of getting legislation passed in your city or township or even village. So first you want to, every city in the country is different. So you want to make sure you see what works in your community. So you might want to start with finding a local official or employee to help you through the process. Sometimes it's the clerk, sometimes it's a supervisor, sometimes it's a friendly city council member. So they can usually guide you through the process. In some cases, they'll send the ordinance to a small committee for review. Other times, the entire council may vote on it without a committee. But don't be frustrated or confused by the process. It may not go as smoothly or as fast as you'd like. Sometimes they have several meetings that they'll discuss it, and they'll actually open up to public comment. So you want to just follow along and make sure that you attend and speak and provide testimony during public comment opportunities. So sometimes there's amendments. They may not accept everything in your ordinance, or they might make changes or suggestions. They could be improvements and tailored for that city or township. And those also will need to be voted on before inserted into the proposed legislation. Step 2 is to do your homework. So you want to figure out who the stakeholders are in your city or township. Those would include animal control officers or shelters or rescue groups. Those would be like 3 of the primary stakeholders. There could be other pet stores, grooming salons, other pet-related businesses as well. We're actually going to hold a webinar in November 23rd. We'll offer 2 sessions, one at noon and one at 6:30, to go over building your case. So doing your homework is so involved. If you're really going to do some background research in your city, you want to learn how to collect all this information. So we're going to have a special webinar called Prohibiting Retail Sales, Building a Case, and you'll want to sign up for that November 23rd. So other things you'll want to work on are to find out how many retail pet stores are impacted by this and how many maybe are not, because you want to also show that stores that are not selling live animals or these animals can be successful. So how many stores are selling cats, dogs, rabbits, and ferrets? Don't forget to check grooming salons and flea markets. They may be selling pets as well. And then who is supplying the pet stores? So find out if they're USDA licensed and what their inspection reports look like. You'll find inventory numbers and possibly photos. We'll go over all that in the Building Your Case webinar. You can also search online for complaints or reviews, and you can request records from the local agencies to see if there's any complaints on record. Some stores, you might be surprised, have many complaints, and this is more of a reason to pass this ordinance. So the municipal shelters also have statistics that are reported to the state, the Michigan Department of Agriculture. You can find out how many animals are being taken in, are adopted out, and are euthanized, and that will help you build your case of why are we selling unaltered animals when we need to work on our helping out our shelter animals first. Then you want to create a good list of alternatives. That's always the first thing city council members ask. Well, where would you want us to get our pets? We've always went to breeders. Where would you want us to find a pet? And that's an easy answer because there's a shelter usually in every county, and there's foster-based rescues, and of course petfinder.com has all the search tools. You can find great pets through rescue. So we also tell families they can find reputable breeders through local breed clubs and veterinary referrals. There's also a How to Buy a Puppy guide from the Humane Society of the United States. And there's also hundreds of breed-specific rescue groups in Michigan and across the country. So lastly, the FOIA request means Freedom of Information Act request, so you can collect public records. That's simply a letter or email, and you would want to include exactly what you're looking for in the time frame to avoid delays and costs. And they have 5 business days. So if it's a government agency, you can request those records. If it's a private shelter, you would not be able to send in a request. Well, you could always ask, but they're not legally required to give you information. So step 3 is build your case. So this is also part of our webinar in November, but we want to go over to some high-level things. So you want to show your community why they need this ordinance. So you want to show what the problems are and how they can prevent problems from coming to your city or town. So eventually you'll need to condense your findings down to at least a 2 to 3 minute pitch. That's what you want to focus on. What's your talking points for your decision makers? So you can watch some of the testimony already provided in Macomb County Commissioners this past spring. We covered each animal. So we had subject matter experts on ferrets, rabbits, and long-lived birds. So you don't have to be one. We'll provide you with fact sheets and information. We also will provide you frequently asked questions, which is on our Michigan Friends of Companion Animals website. And it's currently tailored for Macomb County, but we can help you update it for your area in the Building Your Case webinar. So I'll show you how to anyway. So step number 4 is work with the opposition. As Jill mentioned earlier, we want to work with pet stores and get them to convert. We also want to help them transition to a humane model. So you could offer to coordinate adoption events and help them find, local rescue groups that might want to hold events on the weekend or meet and greets. Some common opposition arguments include, and we have responses for most of them. We have a document, so there's so many similar questions that come up from the opposition, and that could be someone on the city council, it could be a pet store, it just could be someone that's opposed to more regulations. So some of the common questions are, some pet stores do work with good breeders and we don't want to punish the good pet stores. Well, we found that no reputable breeder would ever work with, sell their puppies wholesale to a pet store. They want to know where their puppies are going to be rehomed to. So we also have done research, and we found that they're mostly commercially bred animals that are supplying our pet stores, or backyard breeders that no reputable breeder that belongs to a breed club would sell to a pet store. And why don't you raise the standards of the breeders instead? Well, we do agree that this is something that needs to be done, but it's very challenging, and we have made many attempts, even here in Michigan, to pass legislation to regulate large-scale breeders, but it has been unsuccessful so far. But we think that it's more efficient to work at the local level and take steps to prevent them from coming into our communities, and that's one way we can stop puppy mill puppies from having an outlet in our communities. So pet owners have the right to obtain, another opposition argument is pet owners have the right to obtain their pet from the provider of their choice. And another one is we do not want to shut down any businesses. And we agree we do not want to shut down a business. We want to support humanely run pet stores. And we feel that independent stores can be successful by just selling supplies, offer grooming, boarding, and other services. And it's there's far greater benefit to the community when families are not paying high vet costs and for veterinary expenses for genetically inbred and overbred animals. So the city of Warren actually spent $20,000 to save about 200 animals from a pet store situation. So we'll go over more on how to work with opposition in building your case webinar. So we've been asked, who are the potential opposition groups? This is a common question, who might be against this ordinance, and mostly pet shops that sell these animals, the Pet Industry Joint Advisory Council, which is the pet industry. They represent all the suppliers, even the pet supplies, not just the puppy mills, part of the industry. There's the Hunt Corporation, which is a very large broker in Missouri. And then there's the Missouri Breeder Association has stepped up in some cities to oppose the retail ordinance that most cities are passing, but they still are attending these meetings and opposing the legislation. Okay, we're going to go to the next one. Step 5 is getting community support. As we mentioned earlier, you want to work on stakeholder outreach. This could include anything from the chief of police, the animal control officers, the shelter director and staff. You even might want to reach out to some local breeders or breed clubs. A diverse group is always good to have on your side, whether it's just dog owners or local residents, maybe dog trainers, pet-friendly businesses. We listed the county commissioner or even the state representative or senator are influential stakeholders that you can build a coalition to get everyone on the same page, that this is a problem, this is something that they want to prevent from coming to their city or their district. So we also have we gain the support of the county commissioners. That's also a great way to help get the ordinance passed locally. If your county commissioners pass a resolution urging cities to pass it locally, it'll have much more mainstream appeal and support within the community. So they're usually one-page documents outlining the problems in the county and their formal signatures. So the county commissioners sign off with support. And we'll go over how to get a resolution passed in your county. We already passed this in Macomb County, but if we want to go to Oakland County or Wayne County, we'll go over that in our next webinar. So supporting local ordinances means doing things like testifying at city council meetings and contacting city council members to express support for the ordinance, informing others about the ordinance as well. Even in big cities, it can be common for very few people to get involved in local government. So getting active community support can make or break the legislation you're trying to pass. So we say a small group of people are changing laws in most cases. So step 6 is find a friend in office. We're featuring Fred Miller from Mount Clemens. He was instrumental in getting the resolution passed from Macomb County. And so we feel that finding a friend in the office, someone that's sympathetic to the cause and shares the same interests, would help, help you learn the process and help socialize it among the decision makers. So they do tend to take their constituents seriously. So try talking to your own council member. Each county or even city has a district. Some of them don't. They just represent the whole township or city. But if there are districts, find out who is your council member. And they might not always agree with you, so that doesn't always work. But if they're not interested, don't despair. You can always find another official that might be interested in animal issues, so pitch your idea to them. But it's always good to start with your district representative. Often your local animal control or nonprofit Humane Society can point you towards a sympathetic decision maker. They may have been working with the council on other issues for years. Step 7 is introduce the proposal. A great way to introduce it is just a one-page letter. I call it the cover letter. And you can send this to the mayor or city council person, the city attorney, planning director. I've been working more with township supervisors or city managers. And include the problems that you want to fix, add the details specific to the city or nearby cities. They might not have a pet retailer or problem in the past, so maybe you want to use a neighboring city like Lenox. They have someone selling out of their house. A lot of puppies are coming in from Minnesota. So you want to show what the problems are that you're trying to fix, and then what the ask is. So you want to ask your mayor possibly for a study group or a meeting with the city attorney to review the example ordinance for consideration. So we also want to offer you a recommendation. Maybe deliver the cover letter in person and ask for a meeting. Often they are available and they have an open door policy, but make sure you bring your backup documents with you. So step 8 is going public, and this would mean going public with the media, but we want you to use caution. If you're working with a friendly city council member who is guiding you through the process and socializing the ordinance to win votes, you should consult them on the best approach for going public with the media. So local officials do read the local paper, so it's a good way to educate the community. But schedule a meeting. You could, when you're ready to go public and get support or participation at the hearings, if they have some review meetings, you might want to schedule a meeting with the editor or editorial board of your local paper and ask them to support your proposal. Contact media outlets, including the television and radio, and let them know about your efforts. You can even write a letter to the editor. It should be about 150 to 250 words. And so you can start getting some conversation and public dialogue going in the media. You can also issue a media advisory or a press release if you feel you need to gain more public support before a vote, or to have people attend a committee meeting to participate in debate. You can write your own press release or include your own quotes from stakeholders. Step 9 is to testify. Usually testifying means speaking during public comment. Sometimes the item is on the agenda and they might open it up to certain speakers that are there to speak about the item on the agenda, but in most cases they want the public to speak at the beginning or the end during public comment. So you could ask your coalition members to help speak with you, especially if they're local to the community constituents. But you want to plan ahead, make sure everyone doesn't speak about the same points. For example, it may be wasteful and frustrating for city council members to have a dozen people talk about the abuse and neglect of puppy mills without mentioning the taxpayer burden of animal care and control agencies that manage animal homeless issues. So being organized to get all the talking points through is very effective. It's also particularly helpful if you can get an animal control officer to testify on behalf of their agency. Enforcement professionals in uniform can add an additional air of importance and mainstream acceptance to an issue. It's especially important to have an individual who will be enforcing the ordinance. This will vary by community. So again, we'll provide fact sheets and responses to opposition arguments in Building Your Case webinar, which will help you with your testimony. Step 10 is compromise. So say the city council or township has been reviewing your ordinance and they want to make a few changes. It doesn't always go smoothly, but you know, sometimes you do have to compromise and be prepared to ahead of time so you know which parts of your ordinance are most important, which ones can be set aside if needed. So say you win and your ordinance passes, hooray, we did pass the ordinance in East Point, Michigan, but we want to also make a note that you should remain vigilant. This is something that, you know, once the ordinance gets passed, it doesn't mean it will be enacted or well enforced or will remain part of the local law forever. Sometimes cities or county attorneys will change the language or legislation that has been passed. In other cases, the law may be changed in the court or it may be defeated in court. Whatever the situation, keep an eye out for related issues in your community after your ordinance has passed. And if your city or township votes no and it does not pass, don't give up. Maybe they were just not ready at this particular time. Maybe you need to wait till after the elections. However, you have introduced them to the problems, which is a great start to educate community leaders. You can also talk to the ones who voted against the bill or were opposing the bill, the ordinance. You can learn from the experience and try to pass a better bill or ordinance in the future. So you can start planning your next victory. And I'm almost done here. This is the last slide for me. So we do have resources available if you'd like to try to pass this ordinance in your city or township or village. We do have a model ordinance that's set up for Michigan, has Michigan definitions, and we do have a resolution template for Macomb County, so if you want to have a resolution passed in your county. We have frequently asked questions, fact sheets for each animal, Michigan shelter statistics, and a list of Macomb County pet stores. It's all on our website. It's listed there at the bottom of the page. Okay, so we're going to go ahead and open it up to questions. If you'd like to, if you have a question, you could raise your hand and we will unmute your microphone or your phone and you can ask your question, or you can type in a question in the chat box on the right and we'll just give you a couple minutes to type those in if you'd like.
While we're waiting on if anyone wants to come up with some questions, you'll see there that this is the last of our general beginning webinars on passing on a local ordinance. But as Pam mentioned, on November 23rd, we will be conducting a more detailed webinar titled Prohibiting Pet Retail Sales, Building a Case. And it will go into a lot more detail about doing research and really building up and gathering together all the information that you need to convince local officials that this is something that's really needed in your community to protect animals and to protect consumers. So that information is also on our coalition website, which is mfca.yolasite.com. And you will see also on Facebook more information about signing up for that webinar as well. So doesn't look like we have any questions at this point. So if you think of any later, of course, you can contact us through our website, or you can also email me at, you can just email michigan@hsus.org with any other questions that you might have that you think of maybe after the webinar is over. So Pam, did you have anything else you wanted to add before we wrap it up?
No, this is good. It will be recorded, and we're going to post this on our. It's going to be on our YouTube for Michigan Friends of Companion Animals, and then the link will be provided on our website as well.
And I just thought of one last thing. I encourage everyone to sign up to attend the Great Lakes Animal Welfare Conference in Battle Creek, October 19th and 20th. It's a wonderful conference, and it will be covering not only Michigan this year, but also the Great Lakes states of Ohio, Indiana, Illinois, Wisconsin, and Minnesota, in addition to Michigan. So it's just a great opportunity to get together and network with other people involved in animal welfare and sheltering and rescue. So you can find out more at michiganpaw.org. That's Michigan, paw.org, and you'll see a training conference there on that page, and you can register to attend the conference. I'll also be giving a workshop there at the conference on passing a local ordinance, not only on pet stores, but on all other types of animal welfare issues. So highly encourage everyone to attend. So again, if you think of any questions in the future, you can email me at michigan@hsus.org and contact us through our website. But I think we'll go ahead and wrap it up. But thank you, everyone, for joining us this evening, and we hope to talk to you again soon. So thanks. Bye.